Did you know? In BC today, there are more than 14,000 lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgendered, or queer couples. They live in big cities and small towns. Many have children. Like all families, LGBTQ families are built on love and respect. But unlike many families, LGBTQ parents and children may still face uncomfortable questions, misunderstandings, even hostility. That's changing slowly, but there's still a long way to go. Meet Renee Parker and Stephen Peterson, two gay parents who share their stories of the joys and challenges of raising children in LGBTQ families.
My name is Renee Parker. I am a registered clinical counselor, and a bigger role for me actually is that I am a parent. And my family structure is a little bit atypical. I fell in love with my childhood sweetheart in high school, and it happened to be a woman. And we ended up we've been together for 31 years now, and one of the things we really wanted to do was have children together. And when we first got together, that was not something that was considered very acceptable. We were hearing about other people who had been married and had children and then realized that this was not working for them, that they were actually underneath a lesbian, breaking up with their partner, and then having their children taken away from them. So we decided not to have children until a lot of the laws changed. So at age 40, a very good friend of ours, a man who was also gay, and his partner wanted children as well. And so we decided to form a 4-parent family. And we decided not to live together. We debated the idea of getting one of those split houses, a duplex or something. And then we decided we would keep it a bit more separate. So we made a legal agreement and arranged that my partner and myself, Susan, would be the legal parents, and that they would be more part-time, more almost uncle-ish kind of figures in the children's lives. And we had one boy 10 years ago, and then we had our second one 7 years ago, and it has worked out really beautifully. So the children live here with Susan and I, and they often go on the weekend to spend time with their dads. And it's been a really amazing thing.
My name is Stephen Peterson, and I work for the Vancouver School Board. I run the Strong Start program at Tillicum School, and I'm a parent. I'm a parent of 3 children. One that's 17, one that's almost 10, and one that's almost 4, which the younger ones we adopted with my partner. So a little bit about my family. Me and my partner, we decided to adopt in 2003, and we went through the ministry to do our adoption process. Then we actually got our son in 2003, 9 months later. So it was a very quick turnaround. Then we also have our daughter who is 17, which is my stepdaughter. And then we have our other daughter who is almost 4, who we adopted also.
Where we've come from, where we're going. A lot has changed for LGBTQ people in Canada in the last 30 years. Until recently, LGBTQ parents were almost invisible. They were seldom able to adopt or get custody of their biological children. Even today, same-sex couples may encounter barriers in their everyday life, particularly when they start families.
When we had our first son, I ended up having a bit of a difficult delivery, and in the hospital they were trying to say that the only person who could visit me for a while was the father. And it was beyond a few people to really easily get the concept that Susan was actually the other parent. And we wished that we'd been able to make it easier for them. But Susan ended up having to be really, she ended up being, I think, a bit angry and just kind of went, you got to get this. And we don't have time to explain this to you. And with the second child, that didn't happen at all. With the second child, when we went in there, it was passed around right away. This woman is the other parent. She's allowed to be in the delivery room. Everything was completely cool. Both of my children have a little bit of autism. They're on the mild end of the spectrum. But needing to get services for that and not having people make the assumption that our family was non-traditional and therefore was the cause of their problems, that was a very upsetting thing, but it did not happen very much.
What about the kids? Researchers have found that there are unique and positive differences among children raised in LGBTQ families. Compared to children raised in heterosexual families, they have increased awareness and empathy towards social difference, higher self-esteem and better mental health, and they're less gender stereotyped. Boys are less aggressive, girls are more likely to aspire to non-traditional jobs.
When I was at one center, I actually had somebody say, so did you have the children when you were married to a man? And I said, no, I had these children, deliberately with my partner. And she said, well, why would you do that to kids? And that was a very upsetting thing, like the implication that I was deliberately bringing them into a warped upbringing kind of environment. I haven't heard any parents do that to anybody, but I know that it happened to me, and I'm sure that it does happen sometimes. So if I knew that kind of thing was going on, I would definitely want to step in and address it. I would have to say to them, this place is accepting of all diversity. We want people to have an environment that is safe to be with their children. So we accept absolutely everybody of any family structure. And we're not going to make any kinds of judgments about it. So just like you need support, these people need support, everybody needs support.
This is a picture of me and my partner, and my son and my daughter, who in this picture was the very first day she came home to her forever home when we adopted her. And this is another photo of me and my partner, and my son and my daughter, and actually my oldest daughter, who is part of our extended family. Who's she has 2 moms and 2 dads.
What I want for my children is to not have any barriers to their education. I want them to get the support they need to get through all the education they need so that they can go forth in the world and have their wonderful, creative ideas come to life. And for people to see their sweetness and their concern for the world. They really have an interesting sense of the world that I think it's really hard for them to communicate. So I want people to be able to listen to them. I want them to be able to share what they have and no barriers to their education.
My experience becoming a parent and having my children at either 7 or 8 weeks old was more of a shocker in the sense that I was changing diapers, I was feeding the formula, I was up at 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. like all parents probably would be, and I still continually call this lack of sleep as is continual jet lag. So what I've done as a parent is what all parents would do. It's like loving your children and being there for them. So it's I think that I wouldn't give it up for the world, and I don't think I never think of what it would be like without my children.